Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And today guys, I have a kind of a deep dive video for you. And today we're going to talk about the pattern of cheating that's been going on in Star Wars: The Old Republic for a couple of years. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, this subject has a lot of different angles and facets. It's almost impossible to pinpoint every single cheater at any given point in time. Due to how old the game's engine is, it may make it easier for, clients to exploit the program, but I'm not a tech guy in that sense, so we're not going to really cover those sorts of the aspects of cheating, but we're going to talk about the impact and what Star Wars: The Old Republic themselves have been doing to kind of combat this issue. First of all, let's kind of go over what cheating is. That may sound stupid, but we're going to be talking about this in the context of solo ranked and maybe a little bit of group ranked. But for solo ranked, what is cheating? Now, you're probably thinking of a lot of things like, fly hacking, maybe damage immunity, maybe something that's manipulating GCDs, stuff like that is you're considered like really aggressive, like exploits and cheating. But what about the things that most people do on a daily basis without even realizing it, and whether you can call it, cheating or not? And we're going to call that, sync queuing or queue syncing. I pretty much butchered that. But anyway, guys, you guys get the idea. Queue syncing is when you and another one of your friends decide to queue at the same time in hopes of getting on the same team or, maybe the same game. Now, there is inherently, in my opinion, nothing wrong with queue syncing. It's solo queues. You're trying to increase your odds of winning the game by hopefully getting on the same team with an ally. Now, here's where it gets tricky. It's say you and that buddy don't have the best intentions and you still queue sync, and no matter what happens, if you're on separate teams, you guys might decide, all right, dude, I'll throw so you get the win, and then maybe next round you can throw so I'll get the win. And that's what we call win trading. And yes, in my opinion, that's cheating. Now, how is this broken down? It's broken down to basically, one core thing. Say you have a toon that you don't care about your rating, right? You can queue on that toon as many times as you want. You can drive the rating into the ground if you want to because you don't care about it. Well, say your friend likes to queue on his particular, let's just say a Marauder, and he wants to get top 3 Marauder. Well, how do you do that, or how do you, increase your odds of winning games and climbing that, really long ladder? Well, it's having a buddy who doesn't care about rating and will throw if he's on the other team. This automatically makes the match essentially a 3v4 situation, and 9 times out of 10, that 3v4 situation ends up going in the favor of the team with 4 people. This is cheating and should be stopped, and there is a way to report all of that. Mike Bradley has a post on the forums that's, sticky and pinned to the top of the forum page, but I'll link it down below if any of you guys have experienced this or have seen anything, unusual behavior or something out of the ordinary that you want to report. You can do it that way. But anyway, that's the most common thing that we've seen in the last couple years, especially in the last, couple of seasons. I would say from season, 8 to 11, there's been a lot of win trading. And win trading, guys, is not hard to disprove, but it's one of those, sticky situations where, like, not every player is going to be as good. Now, we can dive into all the variables about how BioWare could figure out if someone is throwing. Well, are they stucking every game? Are they only doing a certain amount of damage? And maybe they have other characters that are in gold, but that one specific character is just like at a 500 rating, like a literal 500 rating. And that doesn't make sense for the account. So it's either extraordinarily bad luck or they're throwing and or win trading. So you can kind of go through it that way. I don't know the process of BioWare for dealing with people who cheat and win trade, so I'm not even going to begin to kind of say what's what in terms of what you can and can't do to, kind of figure that out. But that's just something that I thought might be the case for them trying to figure out, okay, who's throwing or win trading and who is not. The other thing is a little bit more easier to figure out. It is the actual like cheating and exploiting in terms of like fly hacking or taking reduced damage or having, super crazy speed or things like that. There was a guy on the server on Starforge early this season and last season who did a lot of fly hacking, and he has been banned, I think, for life. But there are still people saying that, you know, like, hackers out there exist, and there are hackers in every game. There are cheaters in every game. If you look at Overwatch, there's not that much, but, like, you know, popular games like Fortnite, PUBG, you know, those battle royale games, you have, you know, cheaters in there as well. So there is always going to be those, you know, bad apples in a whole, you know, good bunch. However, I think it's important to note that the SWTOR population is very, very small right now, and we're going to get into why that's important. 6.0 is arguably one of the biggest monumental points for Star Wars: The Old Republic currently in its history, because we need to get the population back up. The last time the population was super big, honestly, in my opinion, was around 3.0 to 4.0. And they didn't really do well with 5.0, so I don't really count the numbers there because they were just kind of inflated because of the new cinematic. But, like, pretty much from 2.0 to 4.0, things were pretty good in terms of, you know, population. You know, queues are popping, you know, things like that. They moved over to ranked arenas. Like, things were going well. And then there just came a huge colossal disaster that was 5.0, which, you know, the gearing system was the biggest issue of that, and the random rolls on the gear, and not being able to just pick the gear that you want to get from the vendors like it was in previous iterations of the game made it frustrating for players, and people took breaks and outright quit playing the game. Why is this important? Well, when the population goes down, the hackers and the exploiters begin to surface because the game's just not as popular. You can, in theory, maybe get away with a little bit more of your, you know, bad tactics and things like that. But the thing is, in the PvP community, now it is so small that you have... Actually, I want to give the person credit. Someone in my comment section put this really well. I'll try to, like, pin the comment on this post, on this video. Like, I'll copy and paste it and I'll put it in the comments. But basically, since the population is so small, the hardcore players and the casual players clash instantly. You've got the rep farmers, not the rep farmers, you've got the mat farmers, the token farmers, and things like that. And then you have the hardcore players who are trying to gain, you know, their rating, get their flares, get their rewards, and, you know, waltz around the fleet looking, you know, badass and intimidating, like I will, because I'll finally have gotten silver and probably gold on my Stork by the time, you know, the season ends. So, you know, people like me, and then you've got casual people. So when those two communities mix, you know, constantly, it really makes for a toxic environment. And this isn't necessarily the player's fault. I would say it's the player base being so small, because if you take, you know, games like Overwatch and Destiny, the competitive players and the quick play players don't really interact that much. There's not a whole lot of interaction between those two communities. So that goes to show that you can have highly competitive people in a highly competitive and, you know, a higher skill level community, and then you can have just the casual, you know, player versus player, have fun, chill nights of, you know, the Alderaan Civil War. You can have those without having much overlap. Thing is, the population is so small now that they are overlapping constantly, therefore win trading kind of gets escalated, because if you aren't winning as many games because of the casuals that are in queue and don't care and are just, sometimes people just go into ranked queue to spite the hardcore players. I had a guy on my team on Starforge yesterday who was a 230 assassin, did maybe, I think it was 300k between both rounds. We obviously lost the match, but one of the comments in the chat was, once you pay for my subscription, then I won't queue solo ranked. And I mean, to his point, he pays for the game, he can do what he wants, but he's just being a prick, honestly, at that point. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna defend this guy and say, oh, well, he's totally in the right. And I mean, in a way, he is. From a logical, not logical, but from a business perspective, yes, he pays for the game, he can queue ranked. But he kept queuing that night because he wanted to piss off other people and bring their rating down. So when you have people in queue that do that and don't care, you almost force the better players in some instances to say, hey, look, I want to get gold on this tune, but there's so many bads in the queue. Can you just throw some games for me so I can get this, so I can have it? And honestly, that's what's been happening a lot on Darth Malgus. It happened a little bit on SWTOR, and I know it's happening on StarForge. Now, I know I've been very, like, shouting my praises about SWTOR recently, and I know that might seem like a little like I'm a little bit biased. SWTOR has its own problems as well. That being said, there are really only 2 guilds, big guilds on that server that basically run the rank scene. I'm in one of those guilds, and there was, you know, the drama. For those of you who don't know, there was a drama on SWTOR a few weeks back, and it essentially, you know, killed the queues. I was in queue for 11 days straight, didn't get a pop. I got one yesterday, which was the Sorka video that I uploaded, and that was like my first game in literally 11 days. It was so bad. But anyway, when you have that kind of, you know, again, small player base with people trying to get those flares and trying to circumvent, you know, the people that don't care about ranked in queue, it leads people to do things like win trading and throwing just to get the tiers and the flares. Now, a great example of, oh, maybe they should just do group ranked so they don't have to deal with solo ranked. Group ranked doesn't pop. The guilds these days don't do group ranked because there's not enough incentive to queue group ranked, and even if there is, they usually get discouraged because they're getting stomped by like the hardcore team, so it makes it not, you know, that fun to queue. But you know, that's kind of a non-issue, because to that I would just say try to get better and, you know, learn your stuff, and we've been over that, so we're not going to talk about it in this video because we're talking about, you know, the cheating and the win trading. So the times that group rank does pop, it's usually a few guilds getting together saying, hey, you guys want flares, you guys want rating, and you guys want to just play group ranked. Let's be chill and let's just play ranked on these nights of the week, because no one else is going to be setting up a team for group ranked. So we can essentially get all of our teams to gold, and no one will ever know because it's just group ranked. You know, like, that's crazy. The population is so low that guilds can do that, which shouldn't happen. So honestly, guys, my hope going into 6.0 is that they really emphasize restructuring the PvP system in the next year or so, because it needs a lot of work. And I really think PvP can be a not toxic place if the proper system, you know, is implemented. You know, actually make real incentives to do group ranked, and make real incentives to stay in games and to not throw. Because once you threaten, you know, account status or whatever, you know, might get those people to kind of fall in line. Now, obviously, you can't, like, just, you know, have this bad report system or like the vote kick system. Like, you can't have that system in place to where people are just literally kicking other people just for fun. You can't have that. But you also have to have a system that allows players to report bad behavior without abusing the system. And I don't think there's really that much of an abuse of that system yet, but there is an abuse in the vote kick option, which I think should be removed from Warzones, because you already have a timer if you're not doing damage or you're sitting in spawn anyway, and you'll get kicked anyway. So that is one of the ways that could possibly, you know, continue just to be that factor. But it's a really hard thing to kind of pinpoint. So cheating in this game, is it rampant? Yes, but it's not, it doesn't show up in the ways that I think a lot of people, you know, have been saying. Like, Darth Malgus is full of cheating and win throwing right now because all the hardcore people went over there. I consider myself hardcore. I only moved 2 tunes over there, and I don't play over there anymore because I don't like the atmosphere. It's trading, it's throwing, it's, in my past few videos, I've already called people out. I just don't enjoy it. I would rather queue on StarForge with the RPers and the under-geared people than get thrown on, or be a part of a community and a system that really doesn't care for the integrity of the gameplay. And there's no integrity on Darth Malgus, in my opinion. There's not a lot of integrity on StarForge at all, and there's probably not as much integrity on SWTOR as maybe I would like to think either. But you gotta, in my opinion, I'm going with what I feel is best, you know, for me and my time playing the game, because I pay for this game too. So I pretty much will just be sticking to SWTOR and StarForge, especially, you know, when 6.0 comes out, everyone's gonna be playing the content. But guys, that is my tank, or I can't talk. That is my take on the cheating system. Hopefully I explained it to you in a way that makes sense. Let me know, guys, in the comments down below what you think, why or why not things should be changed. Do you guys queue ranked? Why don't you queue ranked if you choose not to? Again, what's your take on the cheating and the throwing? But guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been Noble. Thank you for hanging out for this long video, but I wanted to get this out, before 6.0, so we kind of have something to go into 6.0, kind of having like, okay, this was made, kind of have a reference point to go to. But anyway, thank you guys again. I will see you guys in the next one.